think for me, the actual full-on attack came on through electronic targeting, but what came with that was demonic attacks in my dream.
They're attached.
The induced I call them night terrors. I wasn't really into, really didn't have a lot that until it just all of a sudden was switched on, as if something either spiritually and physically latched on to me. And I do think the way this control grid works does interface both high technology, things in high places, and a demonic realm.
Hello, it's the Mark Atwood Show, Adventures in the Cosmic Suit. How's it going? You well? Good. I'm going to talk to my neighbours today. Well, not my current neighbours, but my former neighbours back in Morocco. Please welcome Hope and Tivon. How you going, guys?
We're going great.
How you doing, brother?
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. That was a nice short intro. By the way, I forgot to tell you something. Hang on, I'll just pause it. Hey, look at that. Magic. Pause button. Resume. How are you?
Oh, we're doing awesome.
Doing great.
Beautiful here in Marrakesh. This is my favorite time of year. The weather's amazing, and we're doing great.
Yep.
How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great too. I'm watching the world with interest as usual, but trying to make the most of every day.
Yeah.
And I just want to remind the viewers. So when I moved to Marrakesh in 2014, I was online one day and I came across a Facebook page and it said free energy. I went, what? In Morocco? So I got in touch and it was this lady here, 6 hours north. So I drove with my family to go and meet these two. And we had a look at what you were doing. Do you want to explain what you were doing at that time, just as a background for everybody?
I'll let Tivon do the explaining because he's the engineer.
Okay, so we're working on, or still are, doing R&D for an electric generator. And I initially joined the project later, but Hope's family had already done a prototype for a village in North Morocco dealing with pumping water. So I continued the research during that time, and we decided to make a public, like a website and have it more public facing and engaging as far as the development of it. It's all based on Tesla. And the research to this point has been following Tesla patents and understanding how this generator actually behaves. So it's still ongoing, but that's where you caught we caught your attention and you came and visited us. Yeah,
I'll never forget. I think it was one of my, I don't mention my kids' names generally on the show, but there was one of my children was fascinated with the ball with the lights. What was that called? The Tesla thing with the zzz.
The Tesla lightning ball. Yeah, the plasma ball.
Every kid should have one of them.
Yeah, they're very fun.
I must have broken about 10 of them. Well, not me, the kids. But yeah. There are so much interesting stuff there. But I was over the moon that I'd found conspiracy theorists in Morocco.
Yeah. Well, we were over the moon too, because later on because we were up north, like it's like a 9-hour drive.
It depends how fast you go, but yeah.
Right?
It was a big drive,
It was a far drive, and then you invited us to come visit you and your family in Marrakesh, and we came for like the weekend and said, that's it, we're moving here.
Yeah, we're blown away. Absolutely blown away.
Yeah.
And we've been here ever since. We love it here.
You got us hooked.
It's a really special place in the world. Really, really special.
Yeah.
It is. It's Marmite, isn't it? You either love it or you hate it. I don't know if you know what Marmite is. Do you?
Your Marmite to my molasses. It tastes nowhere near the same, but
yeah. And another highlight of that weekend when we came to see you is that you gave me this plate, this Orgonite plate that you'd made, And I was like, what's this? And you said, just sleep on it. And I remember putting it under my sheet that night. And I woke up at about 3 going, and it was all this weird stuff going on. And I was like, whoa, you got to get these out into the world. That was amazing. And then you explained how you'd made them with powders instead of, so you get a stronger effect that with what's that stuff called that you make it with?
Oh, the epoxy resin.
Epoxy resin. Because of course, Reich, when he made the Orgonite, did sheep's wool metal in a container that people would sit in, and then it would harmonize their energy field because it was pulling in energy from the ether, and that was in the 50s. And that's funny because it's like, oh yeah, there we go, because the green screen's showing through it. Yeah, that's the evolution. That's the evolution of that thing you gave me. And it's been such a great journey because you guys were massively into that kind of stuff, and you wrote a book. What was the book called? Have you got one there?
Forbidden Tech. And you're the one that inspired us to write this book. You said you guys have to write a book about all the stuff that you work on and all the stuff that you know. So we wrote our book, Forbidden Tech. It is the complete guide to energy, social, and biological technologies that they did not want you to know about. And thank you again, Mark, for your inspiration, telling us to write this book. When we were writing it, we had very little. We were just starting out in Marrakesh. It was a lot of work, but man, we are so grateful that we wrote the book because we were just basically writing about all the things that we had experienced working in free energy, different types of free energy things that are proven to work, and also stuff about like governments and how they suppress this stuff and how, people are murdered and things for inventing things. And we also wrote all about the orgone energy and the orgonite and the experiments. And we wrote about nanotechnology and chemtrails.
Oh, in 2017.
In 2017.
Hey, do you remember lying in my garden by the pool with all the orgonite everywhere and watching the chemtrails break up above our heads?
Yes.
Yeah. How can we forget?
And we still see that every day here because we got so much orgonite here at our factory that, when you're driving through our house, you see this giant big break in the clouds, this big opening.
God rays coming down.
Well, I just want to remind the viewers, if you want to look at previous episodes I've done with these guys, go to themarkoutshow.com. I've typed in the word Tivon and got a few of them here. The one on V2K, mind control, targeted individuals, electric harassment, biological totalitarianism, and all of this stuff about the Nano Tech. And one of the things that I couldn't find the video of when I came to your house and did that one. That was a good one, but
it was live one. It was on that screen you were just on.
What was it there?
Live from Marrakesh.
Oh no, I think that was with Emma, but when the earthquake happened, that one. Anyway, I'll dig it out and we'll share the link. But around the time that we met, you were involved in the Hampstead kids stuff, and that's when and you were getting attacked so badly. It was I'm telling the viewers, man, it was horrific what Hope was going through back then. I saw the threats and everything, and that was like a daily thing for you, wasn't it? That was a pretty difficult time, wasn't it?
That went on for 4 years, Mark. 4 years. The harassment, the online trolling,
the trolling campaigns,
the amount of sock puppet accounts that this cult had, and the like every day they were making like 9 videos a day about me every single day for 4 years.
Yeah,
it was insane. And so everybody wants to know, why were they attacking you? Right? Everybody asks that question. And the reason why is because we were involved in a free energy design. Yeah. We were doing free energy. We were doing something that goes against the energy industry, which is a multi-trillion-dollar industry, as you know. And there are definitely government programs that pay people to be agents online and also to be agents in real life, that to infiltrate you, to come in and do all, because that was the online stuff.
Oh yeah, but it happens in real life as well.
Right?
Yeah,
but
they
then
actually
it
come want to
happens
visit
in
you.
real life. They want
they move in.
Oh,
Yeah. They're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very good at it.
We've shared some similar stories, you guys, with Mark. I mean, he's telling us stories about what he's been through, and we're like, yep, we've been through that too. So absolutely.
If you're working on any kind of project that is against the mainstream, that is an alternative solution, yeah, these people are very good at getting into your life and getting into your project and wanting to become like a major cog in the project that you're working on.
We wrote about all this in our book as well. It's called J-Trig, and the government programs and the different tactics. And there's training manuals. The governments have made training manuals to teach these agents how to do this. So, we've been through it. We're kind of like veterans of it now. It doesn't really bother us that much anymore. We could see it coming a mile away, usually, but they're getting a little more.
No, they get more sophisticated because people need to understand that, like in it's not a 3D thing. It's a multi-dimensional thing.
Absolutely.
And, the energies work through people, and they know our weak points.
Yes,
that's the thing. They know our weak points, whether that's ego, drink, love, whatever it is. They know. Family, they can come through.
Well, they have dossiers about you before they even come and meet you.
That's why I use WhatsApp. I don't care because they know everything anyway.
Right.
I'm like, people say, "Oh, you on Signal?" I'm like, I can't be bothered because there's too many. They know anyway. It's the same. People said Telegram was a safe place to be, yet they took down my chat only a month ago, and
oh man,
thousands of people on there, and I'm like, well, it's just part of the fucking.
Yes.
I didn't know that, Mark. I'm so sorry to hear that.
No, it's okay. I don't care. I feel sorry for the people that were using it because there was a community there. It was good. I set up a new one and it got taken down like 2 hours later or something. And I was like, there's no point.
Wow.
And the numbers have been exactly the same on Telegram for like 3 or 4 years, the same as on Rumble's hardly moved. The only place where I'm able to feel like I can speak freely has been Substack and X. But I started another YouTube channel. This might go on there, depends on what you say. But it's like that gets shadow banned to buggery as well.
Yeah, well, don't talk about the thing,
Yeah, the thing.
What thing?
No, don't talk about that.
Mosquito here. Get off.
Community guidelines.
Medical misinformation. I mean, you got to laugh, right? This is one of the reasons why we're still friends, because we laughed a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to laugh through it.
Oh, man, it's such medicine. That's the kind of medicine I really want. We laugh a lot. We watch the show.
Yeah.
There's, and we have to have the right attitude and the right perspective at what we're looking at, because you could so easily just get sucked down.
They get emotionally attached
into the psyops and everything,
you become depressed, when you get sucked in emotionally.
Yeah. And, but I believe that, folks like us and you, Mark, and some other people in this little inner spiritual circle, that we have a very special role that we're all playing right now at this time, to bring in the new earth, I guess, so we have to stay strong and we have to fight the evil, and we've got to be steadfast in who we are and what we believe, and we can't be swayed to and fro. We have to keep our mind, on the right things and move forward, no matter what it looks like.
Well, actually, I'm going to bring this up because there was an attack last night here, and it came in the dreams, right? This is part of how the attacks happen. Mm-hmm. And I woke up at 3 a.m. and I had this dream there, and I was like, 10 years ago, that would have freaked me out. Now I'm like, oh, is that all you've got? Is that what you're trying to do? Fuck you. And then I just do protection, prayers, call in Jesus, do all of that stuff. And I'm like, go back to sleep. And I was laughing about that this morning because I was thinking, there's still people freaking out, because there's lots of different levels of awakening. So there's people freaking out about the sun's being blocked out by the government and we're all doomed. And I'm like, well, yeah, maybe, but the thing that keeps me going is that you can't die anyway. You're an eternal spirit. So once you understand that, you understand it's a spiritual war. You're kind of okay. That's the biggest weapon I've had, is just understanding that. But then I was thinking about this attack last night, and I was like, it was really low level. And I was thinking back to like 2016, 2017, 2018. That was when the demonic attacks on me were at the absolute height. They took me to the brink of suicide. And then during COVID 2020, 21, they were very physical. I had a demon on my back, so heavy I had to crawl up the stairs. I had to stand up in the room and be like the exorcist with them. And it was really full on, not as bad as it was in 2017. It was going down, and now it's like minions,
Yes.
Is that, is that similar to your path?
Oh, I got stuff. I'll let you go because I got stuff to say about that too.
Yeah, I think this could be a whole new 2-hour show on its own. I think for me, the actual full-on attack came on through electronic targeting, but what came with that was demonic attacks in my dream.
They're attached.
The induced, I call them night terrors. I wasn't really didn't have a lot that until it just all of a sudden was switched on, as if something either spiritually and physically latched on to me. And I do think the way this control grid works does interface both high technology, things in high places, and a demonic realm. And it uses to persecute or attack people who have found a purpose of some kind, probably people of strong will and have a spiritual center of some kind, even if they don't fully know themselves. And I also think the attack comes when you're at your weakest point. So if you have something deep going on in your life, like for a lot of people, it could be a separation, a divorce, battling an addiction, and let's say people don't support you, and you're kind of like left alone. Interestingly, that's when the attacks tend to come. It's almost like, now they're most vulnerable. Let's see if we can unalive this person through these means. And it's a real challenge. It's when you call prayer and spiritual foundation and God. And for me, it's Jesus. And it was all of that. But the night dream, especially during the witching hour, if I stay up very late and if I don't do certain things, you tend to be vulnerable for attack also, versus going to bed early, all these kind of things. And for me in those early years, up to about the last 2 or 3 years, it was very heavy, very hard. Even some days I'd feel very weak in myself, and I'd have to fast for days at a time. Very familiar with what you're talking about, brother, with regards to the attack. I think it's one of the tools of the enemy. I think they create societies where people's minds are fractured, so that, okay, you can only be spiritual and think of certain things, or if you're into more science and technology, you kind of bent towards being more atheist. So that's somewhere over here. And I think, but the attack, when they actually attack you, it's multifaceted. It's everything at the same time. And you have to be able to have a more holistic approach to be able to battle this thing. It's like, okay, they're attacking you through technology and through ritual and all these things at the same time. And you have to have the bandwidth in your mind to be able, and spiritually, to be able to encapsulate that and know how to battle that.
I want to say that in addition to the attacks coming when you're at your weakest, the attacks also come when you're about to get promoted or you're about to be successful, or some big accomplishment is about to happen for you in your life.
You might have seen that, Mark.
It's like
you're about to do something major.
The spiritual realm, there's an understanding in the spiritual realm that you're about ready to get promoted and you're gonna have a huge success or something like that. And so they're like, okay, now sick them, go sick them and beat them down so that they'll quit before the miracle. That's basically what we've seen a lot of this last year. We've had 3 major spiritual attacks that manifested through people, through relationships, through technologies and things, just this last year alone. And each time it was right before a massive success or a massive promotion. with what we were going through. So what I've done, this is like, it's like an exercise. Like, you go to the gym to exercise your muscles. You have to exercise your mind. And, for me, there's a verse in the Bible that talks about how you have to hold your thoughts captive. Like you have to put them in a prison cell. So if these thoughts, if these thoughts are coming in, like you're under attack and you've got these thoughts coming in. Now they could be from the spiritual realm, or they could be subliminal messages being put out from the technology grid, because that's a real thing and that's happening.
That is real.
Subliminal messages across the whole society.
That's broadcast.
It's being broadcast 24/7 from the satellites and the cell phone towers. So these thoughts come into your mind and they make you feel certain feelings. They make you irrational. You have fears, all that stuff. You have to do a physical exercise where you're like, okay, nope, this is not true. I'm going to take these thoughts and I'm going to put them in a prison inside of my mind, like off to the corner. I'm going to hold them captive and I'm going to declare over my life what is true, what is good for me. And for me, I've got all these promises of God that I love from the Bible, and I speak those promises over myself about, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, and all of those wonderful things that, because that's who we really are.
Yes.
We really are those children of God, and we have missions and assignments in this world that these horrible thoughts are trying to get us to not do. So that's the exercise that I've been strengthening over the last year, especially with all the different types of attacks that have been going on.
Thank you for sharing that, by the way, Mark.
Yeah, this is great, Mark.
Well, I can't not share it because it's real. It's happening to me every day. It's the same as last night. I came outside. I watched a great film last night, by the way, because I was looking for a film that would be emotional, well acted, nothing new. I can't watch anything from the last 10 years. It's shite. And I found Field of Dreams, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I put it on, and I'd not seen it for God knows how long, and I'd forgotten what it was about. I knew it was about baseball or something, and I thought, I'll watch this.
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner, yeah.
Kevin
I'm sorry,
Costner.
I'm thinking what dreams may come. I'm sorry.
Yeah, wrong movie. Totally different vibe.
I was just in awe of how well scripted, acted, spiritual, perfectly constructed, how they left space for you as the audience to fill in the gaps. It was really about God. It was about love. It was just a beautiful film. And I posted about it on Twitter this morning saying, I watched this film and it just made me cry, not just because it was such a beautiful ending, but also how far down Hollywood has gone, because they just don't make anything like that anymore. And it's a shame because there's such a hunger for a good, wholesome film. You have to go back decades to find anything like it. But anyway, while I was watching it, I came outside and I looked up and I connected. I did my usual thing. I connected with a star that was speaking to me, and I got this. And the word I kept getting was communion. And I was having this communion and it was coming through me. And this has happened to me for years. And then I was just like, oh, go on, just show me a ship. Let me know it's all right. And then 2 came by and then I was fine. And I went back in. And I mean, this is what happens on a daily basis and sorry, there's a new kitty cat just brushing my leg. Keeps me completely calm about I say completely calm. All of us, when the power cut happened in Europe last week, I was in a town and it happened and you could feel the energy of the population coming through me of oh shit, how vulnerable are we? It was like immediate vulnerability within minutes of this power cut happening, because all the phones went off, everything went off, even my kids were like, couldn't get hold of me. And but I knew it was fine, because I keep having the same conversation. If I feel any anxiety whatsoever, I just sit there and go, do I trust God? And the answer's 100%. And what's the problem? Go make a cup of tea.
Yes.
Amen. That's exactly what goes through my mind too.
Yeah, and then you, for me, I go through an exercise where I ask myself, like, why am I being attacked anyway?
Yeah.
Why am I going through this? So there's a reason why.
Yeah.
Evil attacks you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but then you see, then you got the human issue, because then you think, well, I can't be, you know, who am I? You know, why me? You know,
Why
that,
me?
that kind of thing. But one of the things, because you and me are both ex-military, and when we first met, Tivon, that's when we had. I think I told you about something that happened to me, and you said, or you told me about V2K, and I said, but that happened to me. I can't remember which way around it was, but I'll just tell the viewers. I was in the RAF. Tivon was in the US Navy, and he was telling me about voice to skull technology. You can actually go and watch that video that we did on that page that I showed you. It's that one, V2K mind control, and it's worth watching if you don't know about V2K. And there was this moment in my kitchen in England, must have been about 2012, and I was chopping vegetables in the kitchen, and there was a voice in my head with the big knife in my hand going, "Kill your kids." And I dropped the knife and I ran outside, and I was sweating, and I was like, what the fuck was, I knew it wasn't me.
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously it wasn't me, but I was like, what the fuck was that? And, you know, and it's just, this is around, you know, this kind of thing's been going on for a lot of people watching this for years as well. How did you get to the point where, you know, tell your story a little bit, Tivon, about Navy and then V2K experiences that I know it's connected to what we've just said, but maybe dig into that a little bit for everybody.
Well, for me, I think it is the way it started. It was when it was in a low point in my life in 2014. I was going through a separation, divorce. I was by myself. I was trying to put the pieces of my life back together again. And then these attacks started happening, but I also had people follow. I had like actual surveillance, people following me around, the gang stalking of, you know, that is pretty much prevalent online now, where in 2014 there's very little discussion about it other than a rare forum here or there, and like an odd news article talking about the act of gang stalking by basically human intelligence type people or operatives running around with their cell phones, or things that would happen around your bank account, bills, or people saying things, repetitive lines or statements over and over again when you go from one location to another, and you can be separated by 100 miles. Didn't matter. It didn't seem to be anything related to geography. Like, for I was living in the UK, so if I had to go from Oxford to London or whatever like that, there's always a crowd or team of people that would say the same line over and over again. Just a lot of different cues when you're being gang stalked. So it started with that, and then the targeting started through direct V2K. It was like a switch was turned on. And when it happened, it was literally like an audible voice in my apartment by myself. And that's the thing, is like these things happen when you're by yourself and when you're in a vulnerable point. That's why I say that. And when you're depressed because you're going through a life change, you know, you do consider thoughts of suicide and things like that. And you have to like pull yourself out of this and say, wait a minute, this is not me. I was running like 20 miles a week. I was like, how am I, you know, I don't have any mental illness in my family. This was just like a switch was turned on. The night terrors started immediately. I started getting inflammation in my joints. I'm like, why am I sore? Why am I, every time I go work out, I'm not recovering? I don't feel great. I actually feel like crap. What is going on?
In the heart too.
My heart muscle was throbbing. I was getting pains in my heart, muscle spasms, all through my joints and my heart area. Yeah, with headaches, bloodshot eyes. And that was the start for me. And it was getting so bad that I also have to say, Mark, for me, the attacks came where I was not able to sleep. So every time I try to fall into REM sleep, the back, like my spine would get a jolt of like electricity, as if I was being electroshocked right when I'm about to hit REM sleep. So imagine you're not able to sleep, and when you're so tired, you're about to drift into sleep, you get a jolt to wake you up.
It's torture. And
I was getting that for about 3 or 4 days at a time where I wouldn't sleep. So now when I try to go into work, I was working at an IT company at the time. I was exhausted. So now, you know, you risk losing your job because now you can't perform, and you're about to go crazy because it's about 3 or 4 days since you slept. Just, you know, you start hallucinating. I don't know if anyone who's been in the military, and depending on what you're doing, you can be up like 20 30 30 hours sometimes if you have some heavy duty you have to do. And if you're up too long, you start hallucinating. You actually start seeing things that aren't there if you stay up. So I was going through that and I knew this was some kind of torture because I was getting to V2K and was prevented from going to sleep. And when my body was so exhausted and I did sleep, like after the 4th day, I would get night terrors. So my dreams were hit with like horrific images, all kinds of crazy things. And so I knew this was external because before I'd never had any of that. And then it was like a switch was turned on. You try to tell maybe two of the most important people in your life about what's happening to you and try to confide in them. And they think you need to go to an insane asylum. And when you research that this is the agenda, this is what happens when you're being targeted, because no one believes you because it's so out there and so outrageous. Well, I am a fan of history, and I'm not like a history, like trained, but I do follow things based on like military history and things. I'm like, well, this is like the Fourth Reich, because this is like it's so extreme, it's so outrageous that people won't believe it. This is like Hitlerian, and I knew that this was some kind of program that they put people under for whatever reason. But I knew that my life, I had engaged in things that were, for me, were interests, things that were outside of the mainstream. Alternative energy, cures for cancer. I hate pedophilia, and these are things I openly shared. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's because I'm strong-willed. Maybe I had all these things with the focus and free energy that got me on someone's list. Also, I didn't pay my BBC license. I was living, I just think of all these things. What could have been? Who it could have been? And if you're targeted, you try to think is like it's impossible. There's several different factors, including my military career, where someone looked at my record and just like, oh, no, we just don't trust this guy. Boom. It could be something as simple as that.
What about
maybe a bad girlfriend or something? You don't know. You just don't know. So, but it wasn't until. But what I want to say,
you're saying all this, but people are like, well, where the heck was your wife during all this? We hadn't met yet.
We haven't met yet.
So before this was happening, right around the time we met.
Yes.
We met. My family traveled to the UK to build one of the free energy machines there, and we met at that build. And then a few months later, I had moved to Morocco first, and I called him up because when I first met him, there was a twinkle in his eye, and I was like, "This guy's special." And I called him up and I said, "Can you come visit me in Morocco and help me with the build?" Right? So he came over to visit, and we immediately started dating. And then shortly after that, he was like, I'm gonna keep living in the UK, and I'll come visit you, and we'll eventually work out a long distance relationship. But he was suffering tremendously because we think that after he attended that build for the free energy machine is when that switch really got flipped on for his targeting. So I had no idea what any of this stuff was at the time. And he told me, I need you to look up a couple of words. This is what's happening to me. He said gangstalking and V2K and electronic harassment. And so I went and I looked it up, and there was very little on the internet at that time. This was 2014, right? I looked it up, found out about what it was, and believed him, because nobody will believe you when you try to tell people what's happening. And I believed him because I love him. And I said, okay, let's get you out of there. And he packed up his whole life in 3 days and moved to Morocco. Away from it. So, and it's been beautiful ever since.
In the journey together, we found out the agenda, and that was what sparked us to kind of unravel more than just free energy stuff, but how to get our health back and understand how it can be targeted, which brings us to the stuff we're talking about today, Mark, the nano technology and all this other stuff.
The thing is, I'm listening to that and I'm like, what's going through my head is, firstly, it was fate that brought you two together. It was fate that brought me with you two together.
Mhm.
I added something to the pot with the book and the pendant idea, and then all of that just went boom while I went off and had to go through my dark night of the soul and then started the pod. And it does, I've tried to work out what it is over the years, because I said this in my book, I've said it lots of times. I always felt like a lot of people that watch my podcast, different, weird, black sheep, all that kind of stuff. And, always made crazy decisions, like leaving the Air Force. Everybody thought I was nuts. Everybody thought I was nuts when I was doing stand-up. Everybody thought I was nuts when I set up a business. It's just constant, like, doing the complete opposite of what everybody was telling me to do. And,
Yes.
and I used to have this vision of I had this vision. It's not I used to have it. Yeah, it was there. Of like, I'd be looking down at the world, and it'd be like there'd be a cloud over the world, and it would be like this light would pop up, and when this light pops up, they just immediately attack, right? And nullify it. And
that's
I always
felt like
every time I stuck my head up, like attack, and then it was like, how do you survive that? And then as time went by, I think this idea of being on a mission that you said makes more and more sense.
Mm-hmm.
It makes more and more sense the longer you go on.
Yeah, it does.
It's almost like you're attacked. They try to attack you before you realize what your full potential is.
Sorry to interrupt the show, but I'm here in my car on a beautiful sunny day in lovely Ireland, and I just wanted to say to regular viewers of my show, you'll know that over the last 5 years I've tested probably over 1,000 different health products and modalities to try to get us through the COVID psyop, but also to help us enhance our longevity towards health sovereignty. Now, out of all the things that I've tested, there are a number of things that I use on a daily basis. And for the last 3 years, you will never see me without one of these on the back of my neck. I can't actually, if you can see it there. It's on the back of my neck. This is a LifeWave X39 patch. Well, this is actually not a patch. This is the sleeve that it comes in. This is an X39 patch, okay? This thing, you just stick on the back of your neck. And what it does is it reflects the light coming from inside your body back inside your body. So it reflects the light coming out of you back into you, but at a frequency that achieves a certain thing. They have a large range of patches that do different things, from helping you sleep better to helping you recover from pain or from exercise pain. This one in particular, the X39, is my standard thing that I wear every day. And the reason for that is because this stimulates the production inside your body of copper peptides. And copper peptides in turn stimulate stem cells. Now, I am 56 this year, and I've got more energy than my teenage kids who I'm on the way to pick up. Why is that? Well, structured clean water is part of that. A mainly carnivore diet is part of that. I do have access to things like hyperbaric oxygen and red light therapy at our healing center at live5dhealth.com. But actually, I don't use them very often because I'm a workaholic. But these patches have not left my neck since I first discovered them in 2022. And I am convinced that my eyesight is better, my teeth are stronger, my arthritis has disappeared, my hair is thicker and longer. Look, there's a ponytail here. Sex drive is better. So many things are better, and I'm convinced it's because of these. If you're not convinced by me, go to themarkatwoodshow.com and search under LifeWave or stem cells. You'll see that I've done numerous interviews with numerous people giving their testimonies about LifeWave patches from all over the world. So go and have a look at those if you're not convinced. I'm going to put some QR codes on the screen. One is for the LifeWave patches themselves, which you can go and get online immediately. They are not the cheapest thing in the world. I do think they're actually less than a cup of coffee a day if you wore one a day. But and I understand that doesn't stretch everybody's budget, but they also represent an amazing sovereign business opportunity. You can get paid for recommending these. If you try the patches and you sign up to the other QR code, which is the business opportunity page, that will put you in touch with Cheryl. Cheryl works with me in the States, and she will talk you through the process and show you how to do it. All you've got to do is share a link and give your testimony. This is the way we bypass Google, we bypass press, national TV, mainstream media to grow this business, which is currently $1 billion business. It has grown
leaps and bounds since 2020 because of the need of people like us who are awake, who want to sustain themselves and get through this time period so that we can get through to ascension in one piece. That's what it's all about. Freeze the video if you need to get onto the QR codes. Go to those links now. That's all for now. I hope you enjoy this message and you enjoy LifeWave, and I'll see you soon. Enjoy the show. Back to me in the studio.
Because, yeah, so what do you think that is? Is because the fourth dimension, I think they can read your mind. If you look at my interviews with different people, Jerry Marzinski, for example, it's like they are your mind. If you look at the work of Carlos Castaneda, the ancient South American knowledge was, but I think the words were along the lines of, they gave us their mind. So the voice in your head is rarely yours. It's either God or it's them, and it's kind of like, which one are you going to listen to? And it's like the cartoon with the little devil and the angel.
Yeah,
and that's true. You know, you got that micro decision to go that way or that way, and all the way through your life, and that's happening on a macro level and a micro level inside everybody's lives. And if so there's two aspects to that. So they either know who you are before you come here, and they know what you're thinking. They know who your soul is, and whether you represent a danger to them. In fact, I did a spiritual reading not long ago when I got told I did a deal with them to get here, and then I broke the deal, and they were obviously pissed off with me, and that's why they keep coming at me, which makes sense. But the memories of that are not there. You know, they're kind of there, and I'm getting more visions at the moment that are very interesting, like really historical ancient stuff that are very real, but I'll go into that another time. But and then of course there's things like Project Looking Glass, where they could know what you're going to potentially do in the future, and they tried, because it's not a normal war, you know, they like, you become a target, so they have to get rid of you because you're going to do something to screw up their plans. What do you think to all of that?
I think you're spot on. And for me, I learned about the book of Job, for example, and the way that book in the Bible is written is you've got a bunch of spiritual beings, God, the angels, and Satan, and they're all like up in the heavenly realms, looking down on humans on the planet, and they're all making plans, and they're saying, well, I'm going to do this to Job, I'm going to do that to Job, and God's like, yeah, well, you can do this, but you can't do that, and they're like negotiating the fate of this man. And the scene switches and goes down to the earth where Job is, and Job's like, oh, I don't know what's going on, and I'm not going to, Job is saying what he's saying, Job's friends are picking on him. There's two storylines. There's like this spiritual realm, and they're all debating over this human, but Job doesn't know that all of these spiritual beings are having this conversation about him and deciding his fate, because they're all saying, the devil's saying he'll deny you, God, and God's like, no, he won't, or let's see what he does. So they're all watching Job to see what he does, right? It's just like that. That'd be
a great movie. That'd be a great movie, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Watching Job.
Exactly.
Storyline.
That's a good title.
And that's the way that particular book is laid out. So it's like, it's just like that right now. And I think you described it in your own words. I could feel the eyes looking on me, the spiritual eyes saying, what's she going to do now? What's she going to do now? Which decision is she going to make? Where's she going to go? How's she going to handle this? So yeah, that's what I think.
And the challenge is that, we're human beings, we're flawed. And, you being looked at long enough, you are going to make a mistake. So
I made loads.
Yeah.
Subway.
We're human. So,
So your mission, you set up, for those that don't know, you make the best Orgonite in the world, basically, and that's been massively successful. Tell us that story.
Go for it.
Oh no, you do it.
Okay. Yeah. So we started making these Orgonite products for ourselves because of the targeting and just general real hypersensitivity to electromagnetic frequencies or EMFs that come from cell phones and Wi-Fi towers and all of that. I had horrible insomnia for about 3 years where, I just could not sleep. It was the same thing as Tivon was mentioning, when you're trying to fall into REM sleep and you get jolted awake. So I had that for a really long time as well. He made the first pendant, which we have hanging in our factory now, which is this really ugly hockey puck looking thing.
But it's not the one that Mark saw. Right? It's not the big black ugly thing.
No.
Yes, he made the first pendant, and he's like, try this on. So he puts it on me, and I was like, wow, I feel really relaxed, and I feel like I need to go take a nap because I hadn't been sleeping forever. And it was like, it really calmed me down. I was like, there's really something to this. For him, he first tried a different kind of Orgonite that has like shavings in there instead of the powders. And so he tried it, and it was the first time he was able to sleep in like 2 weeks. So because he's the engineer, he starts looking into, first he was skeptical.
Yeah, I didn't believe
he's like,
it would do anything.
It's like, what is this? Right?
We did those experiments in the freezer with the water. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Yes.
The ice test.
That's what. Well, it was that and the experience of it in the bed that got me going. What this, and then the chemtrails, and so it is a person. You have to experience it.
You have to experience it and witness the changes in the environment when you start using these things.
I mean, basically, if anybody's watching this that's new to this, basically what it is we take these ingredients and they're all ground up into powder. There's shungite, which is incredible for EMF protection and cleaning up nuclear radiation and all kinds of stuff. So shungite, quartz crystals, iron oxide, steel, and copper powders. They're all ground into powder and they're mixed into an epoxy resin. And when that resin cures, it creates pressure on the surface area of all of those ingredients in there. And from that is the piezoelectric effect, which emanates a passive field out from the composite that you've made. So this field could be, it's negative ions. It's a passive negative ion generator. So just in general, there's so many different uses for this, but what people need to understand is that our bodies are electrical. That's the way God made our bodies. And when you've got too many positive charges around your cells, that's how you get sick. Right? So if you bring in those negative ions, those negative charges, it treats the electrical field of your body. That's what we mean when we say that it's healthy, life-preserving energy that's constantly being generated by these composites. This is also known as grounding. Grounding is bringing in those negative ions, like you feel so good when you go to the ocean.
When you're walking barefoot.
When you're walking barefoot. So basically these negative ions, they ground you. So that grounding for your body, that is an incredible way to treat your body electrically, to heal your body's energy field. And it also helps your cells to open up. So if you're trying to detox, if you're trying to do any kind of chelation to get heavy metals out or any kind of things out of your body, your body needs to be grounded first. That will set you up perfectly for any kind of chelation or detox. Yeah. So our products are natural grounding devices. And if you sleep while grounded, that is the best way to heal your body from this stuff. So that's why we've got our sleeping pods, which are our #1 best-selling product.
Oh, is that the best seller now?
Yeah. Pretty much, because nobody can sleep.
Yeah, no.
I wonder why. How many towers are they putting up, right?
Yeah.
So nobody can sleep. People swear by these. Right now we've got like 4 of them in the bed, and we just roll around on them all night. They're great. You could put the sleeping pod in the bed, under the pillow, next to the bed,
or in your pocket, like in your pajamas.
Put it in your pajama pocket. Guess what? Pain relief. Pain relief happens with this too. I had a pinched nerve in my shoulder from using the computer too much, and I would just put the sleeping pod under my shirt, right where the pinched nerve was, and within 15 minutes, the pain is gone. So that's what we're talking about. That's what the we came up with this for ourselves, and then we met up with Mark, and he's like, hey, why don't you do this pendant thing and turn it into a business? Because we had a lot of demand. A lot of people wanted us to make stuff for them. But
the other ones was your the neighbor.
Yeah.
Your neighbor, the Spanish couple. And their kids liked it.
Their kids really liked it. The kid just wanted to hold the pendant all the time. And the kid had like, I think that was like an ADHD situation. They were never calm. So just by holding the pendant, they were like, I feel so calm. I don't want to let go of the pendant. So, so that was, 8 years ago. We've been doing this for 8 years. 8 years now.
It's been 8 years since I left Morocco.
It's wild.
Yeah. 8 years. The time just flew, and the business has just grown and grown and grown. And gosh, we're doing great. We feel so good because there's so many people that are being helped. We have such amazing testimonies from folks, because
the testimonies are out of this world.
Out of this world. It's not just like I can sleep. It's I have
Lyme disease.
Yeah, pain relief is a big one. People with carpal tunnel or arthritis in the fingers that can't type, they can't work. They hold the pendant in their hand and they can work again. They can type again. And then gardening too. People, especially if you're into growing your own food and you want, fruits and vegetables, we're growing a Garden of Eden here in a desert climate. And it's because of all the Orgonite that we have everywhere. And we do some permaculture methods as well, but this place is really blooming and blossoming, and we're growing enough food. We're feeding the whole village around us. We're constantly giving food away to our neighbors. I wish we were our neighbor.
Do you remember what my nickname was with the locals?
No,
Mr. Melon. Mr. Melon.
Mr. Melon.
Yeah, because I did the permaculture garden and grew all these watermelons, and there were too many, so I took them down to the local village and gave them away. It was hilarious.
Oh, excellent.
If I go back to that village, they're like, Mr. Melon.
Mr. Melon.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, last time I visited you, which was a couple of years ago now, it was like an oasis already then, and you got that much Orgonite there. I always imagine the spy claims come over and there's like beep, 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 beep as they go.
That's why every day I'm constantly praying for protection.
Yeah.
And so you can wear these things, you can sleep with them, but also when we were hanging out back in the day, you did this thing called gridding as well. What do you want to explain the gridding? Yeah.
So whatever anyone, by the way, the reason why we give away these components is that everyone is making Orgonite, their own version of it. Some are very artistic works, but if you start making these things or getting them, what you're going to notice is changes in your environment. And what people have noticed specifically, there is a powerful, the pyramid geometry is powerful in cleaning up the local environment. And it is interesting with the recent revelation of the pyramids of Giza, with the structures underneath them and how they're able to channel electromagnetic energy around it, that it is a very energetic form that is able to electrically couple to the Earth's atmosphere. So when you have an Orgonite pyramid, people have been making their own Orgonite pyramids, or when you get one and you start taking a bunch of them and putting them around your house or around different, we have customers who have ranches and they start putting these things around on their property, and they obviously know how to grow wherever they're growing on their property. Whatever you're doing, Orgonite magnifies the growth rate, the harvest, makes the plants healthier and stronger. What it also does, it changes the local atmosphere because of what we're talking about. This passive field that is generated is as a consequence of being immersed in this toxic EMF environment that we're all in. So it's just creating this field. The field is a reaction to the toxic field that we're all immersed in. So when you look at it that way, when you have a bunch of Orgonite pyramids, for example, or just Orgonite in general in a small region around your home, it creates a huge change in the local environment. And those changes manifest in the form of any kind of positive charges of of particulates in the air, chemtrails, anything that's floating in your environment gets pushed away or swept away because of the local ion current that's generated from these orgone devices. And this is very similar to the way cloudbusters work, or Wilhelm Reich's cloudbuster. People have made cloudbusters and filled them with the Orgonite epoxy resin and have had huge changes in their local environment. So if you have let's say a gray sheet of chemtrailing, and there's obviously atmospheric conditions versus humid versus a dry climate, but if you have a gray sheet in your local environment and it's from one horizon to the other, and you start introducing these things onto your property, what you're going to see is a breakup, a local breakup of that sheet, and you'll start to get patches of blue. Sometimes you'll even, depending on the atmospheric conditions, you'll get an open region of blue around your area that extends for miles. But when you look into the horizon in either direction, you'll get the gray sheet further away from you. So you're literally creating a clearance, an area of clearance around your property and the property of your neighbors. And you start getting natural clouds again, that's when you observe these changes in your environment, and when you do these experiments like the ice test, where you can take distilled water with food coloring, do the control first with no Orgonite, put it in the freezer in a jar, and you look at what is normal when you freeze water with food dye in it, and then you do the same thing with an orgone piece like a charge plate underneath it, and do the same experiment again. You'll get the elongated air bubble filaments in star patterns, vortex patterns, where it's the energy coming off of that orgone piece that's recorded in the ice because it changes the water bonds as it freezes. These are amazing observant things to observe with this technology, which is why you start finding it all over the place. Now, you understand that since we're dealing with a progression of Wilhelm Reich science, I mean, people ascribe different things to it that, like, for example, the New Age community has put a lot into it as far as calling it this or that. But what we're all observing is that this is a field, a cosmic field that is very beneficial to the environment, very beneficial to your plants, to your pets, and to human beings. And that we're able to do this and to clean up the environment, and also to clean up your body, to clean and allow you to detox, and that this is a science that's been hidden from us. So it's very important that we all, start really looking at it.
So essentially what you can do is you can take a bunch of pyramids and place them all throughout your property and create a grid around your entire property, your home or your ranch or whatever. And just imagine there's like a dome.
A protection.
There's a protective dome over your entire property and all of the life that's in there. You, your family, your pets, the plants, even the good bugs and the bees. Everybody is inside of that dome of healthy, life-preserving energy, especially if you've got any cell towers going on around you. Do what you can. Right? Yeah. So you do what you can to change the energy.
Also, with the University of Pennsylvania did an experiment with orgone accumulators, where they basically called it cosmic energy, and the reason why that these plants are growing healthier within these chambers is this energy is being absorbed by the water in the plants.
Yeah.
And everything that's living is water-based. So the water in our cells, the water in the plants is absorbing this energy that's being emitted from these things. So that's why you feel more energized, when you wake up.
And it's changing the consciousness of the water and us and everything.
Yes.
This is why Organize Africa, I remember them 10 years ago, they were just throwing Orgonite out the car window because this is the fight back and you're part of that, and it's amazing. And you sent me a message last night saying you put a special offer together for my subscribers as well. What was that?
Okay, we've got something really special for you, for your listeners. So can I share my screen?
I can share mine. I've got them here.
Okay, yeah, just bring the links up. We put together, we're calling them the Mark Atwood Crazy Doubles. Okay. So anybody that's purchased with us before, you've known that there's this long wait time because we have to make it by hand. We have a tremendous amount of inventory on hand right now. There is no more wait time. This is a special we put together. It's only going to last for 1 week. So it ends on May 12th. And the specials, there's 3 different sizes. So first you've got the the Mark Atwood Crazy Doubles Orgone Shields and Pendants pack. So you're basically getting 2 sets of 5 pendants and 2 sets of 5 phone shields for the price of 1 set of 5 pendants and shields. So it's like you're getting double for the price of 1. So look at all those pendants and look at all those phone shields. Those phone shields can be used on your routers, on your smart appliances. You shouldn't have them, but if you do,
I've got one on my computer now.
Yeah. So your laptops, your phones. So there, it's you can never have enough phone shields. Really, you can stick them all over the place.
And my kids have got them on their phones. Everybody loves them. Yeah.
Yep, we got ours. We got ours on our phone as well. So we've got, you know, five mixed pendants and 5 mixed color phone shields.
How many we got there?
Oh,
yeah, 10.
Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 6 colored phone shields. I'm sorry. So because we have the silver ones in there as well.
Yeah. I'll put the links to these offers below the video if you're watching.
Yeah. The only way you can get these is by going through Mark's links. So make sure, because they're hidden on the site. So they're just for Mark's listeners. And they only last. So the next one that we've got, which is the Mark Atwood Crazy Doubles Orgone Sleeping Charger Kit. So for this, you're going to get 8 sleeping pods and 4 charge plates, 2 black charge plates and 2 gold charge plates. Now we talked about the sleeping pods. So think of all the 8 people in your life that are going to be sleeping again, and your overall health will be better because of that. But in addition, the charge plates, not only can you could sit on them, you can put them under your chair, you can put them in the bed with you as well. You can just put them out in the room. But the really cool thing about the charge plates, we like to use them to structure water. So if you know anything about structuring water, you place your water, your drinks, your big water filters, whatever you're using, just put them on top of the charge plate, and the vortex field of energy that comes off of the charge plate goes through the water and it structures that water, changing the spin of the water, which makes it so much more healthy.
Well, the water absorbs the energy. It absorbs the orgone energy.
Yeah, it absorbs it. So basically, and then when you drink that water, you're healing and you're cleaning your body with this orgone energy and the structured water. You can also put these inside of your refrigerator and turn your entire refrigerator into an orgone accumulator, which will help to preserve the life of your food, your expensive organic fruits and vegetables, in addition to your meats, your cheeses.
And they last much longer.
I can vouch for that. I've had things, lettuces and tomatoes, and they last for months.
Yeah, it lasts so much longer when you've got these in your fridge, or you could set things on top of them. Like if you have a bowl of fruit, you can just put that on top of a charge plate on the counter. There's lots of different uses.
And there's a lot of experiments where people done, they call it the 30-day challenge, where they got a normal plate and put let's say you got a bunch of cherry tomatoes, and you divide it into 2 groups. One is on a normal plate, another is on a charge plate. And the one on the charge plate lasts much longer before it goes moldy and falls apart. So, So
and then the last bundle we put together is the Mark Atwood Crazy Doubles Orgone Pyramid Gridding Kit. Okay, so normally like our community garden kit would have 4 pyramids and 8 garden pucks.
Yes.
Right. And you could use those and place those around. This is double for the price of 1. You're going to get 8 pyramids and 16 garden pucks. You could use them in your garden. You could also put the pyramids in your house as well. You could put them in a room. You could put them in front of your computer, your TV. You can grid your house on the inside of the house.
In front of your router.
Right. Or you could grid your house. If you have a flat roof, you can put them up on your flat roof. And everybody always asks us, can I bury them in the ground? And we would suggest that because, people don't want them to be stolen or
can I hide them?
So can I hide them somehow? So you can bury them in the ground, but we suggest leaving the tip of the pyramid exposed so that field can generate out through the tip. So yes, you can do that as well. We've got them all over here. So there's the Crazy Doubles Orgone Pyramid Gridding Kit. But of course, if you want something smaller, You can still, if you just go over, when you're on that link, just go over to the right side and you have separate links for our charge plates, our garden pucks, our pendants, our phone shields, our pyramids. We also have construction tiles as well.
I remember the discussion around those years ago.
Yeah, we have the construction tiles.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, literally, I've got this one. This one's not left my phone since I last saw you. And there's one on the back of the screen here. And I've got my structured water. I've got all these things add up.
Yeah. So like we always say that this is, if you're trying to just heal and be healthy and live a better life and raise your consciousness and be able to think straight.
Yes.
There's definitely, we always say it's not, just this one magic thing, this one magic bullet. It's a whole regime. And we're so happy and proud of you, Mark, that you've opened up the healing center.
Yes.
And all the different things that you've been involved in and all the shows that you've done. The hyperbaric chambers and the Brown's gas and all these different things, because we think that you got to do it all. Mm-hmm. You have to do it all in order to combat what's been done to humanity with the amount of pollution and attacks and Wi-Fi, nanotechnology. We have to fight back, and this is how we do it.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing. I'm glad you found your mission in life, and I'm very happy to share. And thanks for putting those deals together. They're brilliant. Yeah, amazing. I'm going to shoot now because I've got a crook neck and I'm running out of battery.
Okay. Love you, Mark.
Love you, brother. Take care.
Take care. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining me. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Links below the video. Have a lovely day.
Are you looking for amazing retreats in Ireland?
Let us help you become the best version of you in a matter of days.
Ireland is a wonderful place to retreat from the world and find some inner peace.
It is a deeply historic and spiritual country, and nothing can inspire the soul more than the stunning west of Ireland.
We have chosen the historic town of Boyle in County Roscommon to build our state-of-the-art clinic, Live5D Health, nestled along the beautiful Boyle River.
Our centre combines a range of therapies that cannot be found under one roof anywhere else in Ireland.
These therapies need to be experienced on a daily basis over a number of days to truly feel the incredible, powerful effects.
So we have put together a fabulous package for people from across the world who are looking to truly reinvigorate their health and mental well-being. Full details of itineraries, dates and costs can be found when you join our retreats email waiting list on live5dhealth.com. Our total wellness retreats use the stunning Frybrook House, only a 2-minute walk across the bridge from our centre, as your base for a range of daily therapies in our EMF protected and energetically harmonious centre.
Our activities and therapies include a wide range of truly healthy breakfast, lunch and dinner options provided by Frybrook House and Boyle's best chefs, under our strict guidance on the provenance of ingredients and their nutritional value.
A daily morning yoga session.
Red light therapy in the most advanced red light bed in Ireland to activate the mitochondria in your cells, help weight loss, reverse aging, stimulate collagen and relax every cell.
Pulsed electromagnetic field therapy to harmonize your electromagnetic field, strengthen your cell walls, and stimulate circulation and healing.
Hyperbaric oxygen therapy or exercise with oxygen therapy to detoxify and feed your cells with this essential healing nutrient on a level you've never experienced before.
A session in our luxury sauna overlooking the Boyle River.
The world's cleanest water steam room. Our water is vigorously cleaned and harmonized with nature.
Immersive light and sound therapies, including the only Roxiva and soundbed combination in Ireland, aided by the only holographic sound system in Ireland. Has to be experienced to be believed.
Quantum healing in our Orinoco healing pod. Profound spiritual experiences await you here, especially if you are an experienced meditator, but also amazing if you are not.
Daily hydrogen and Brown's gas sessions to help your body rejuvenate itself with the fundamental building blocks of the universe.
Provision of clean, structured and mineralized hydrogen water for you to consume throughout the retreat, with the inclusion of a hamper containing our best supplements.
A final night dinner with our founders, Mark Atwood and Gary Keeley, and the Live5D team at a stunning Irish castle.
These treatments are all well-established foundations, especially if you are chronically ill.
Or just want to enhance your being and give your body and soul the best treat you could possibly give it.
There is a lot of information on our website about all of them, so we do encourage you to look around and do your own research on the benefits before applying to come on a retreat with us.
They are also cumulative. That is, if you experience them over multiple days, the effects are enhanced.
Of course, we're not only offering these incredible therapies on our retreats.
We want you to have a fully immersive Irish experience as we are nestled in and amongst some of the most incredible sacred sites and landscapes on Earth.
Many know of Ireland's mystical past, being connected to Egypt, Atlantis and Lemuria.
And our centre is only a few minutes from the wild Atlantic coast,
Queen Maev's tomb,
the mystical and powerful Carrickeel,
and the caves of Kesh, among many other places of great interest.
We will make excursions to many of these on your visit, as well as a choice from some of these local delights.
A seaweed bath in the coastal town of Inishgrone. Built in 1912, these traditional seaweed baths are famous for their high concentration of iodine, which relieves all sorts of ailments from arthritis to rheumatism.
A seaside sauna and sea swim at Ross's Point. Our sauna is fabulous, but we will also take you to the charming and picturesque town of Ross's Point, where you will be able to swim safely in the sea, set against the spectacular backdrop of Benbulben.
A stunning canoe trip along the rivers of County Sligo. Very gentle exercise where you will see how the rivers of Ireland can be like the rivers of Africa, with the almost guaranteed inclusion of kingfishers.
A flight in a light aircraft across the township of Boyle, where you will experience the local lakes and mountains from a unique perspective.
A boat tour of Lough Key, our local lake which features multiple islands, a castle in the lake frequented by W.B. Yeats, an alleged interdimensional portal, and many tales of UFO sightings. Trips to the local organic markets and farms, a traditional Irish music evening in a thatched pub, a lunch boat tour on the mighty River Shannon. Our retreats run throughout the seasons of the year and are strictly limited in numbers.
So please fill out the form on live5dhealth.com today and get on the waiting list.
Are you spiritually protected? Are you wearing the armor of God? Are you prepared against the principalities of darkness that currently wreak havoc in our world? Spiritual warfare is a very real thing. Weapons of Mass Protection is the explosive and practical 5-star best-selling book from authors Abby Wynn and Mark Atwood, who both agree that humanity is in the midst of the biggest spiritual awakening in human history. If you feel like things ain't what they seem, if you feel you are under attack, get your weapons ready now. Weapons of Mass Protection. Practical tools for spiritual warfare. Out now.